We, the Democrat Party, we are the party of illegal aliens. We are the party of murderers and rapists and gang members. And the Democrat Party exists here to fight to keep murderers and rapists and gang members in your communities. There's a reason the Democrat Party is at 26% approval nationwide.
I encourage you to following Senator Cruz once again.
Excuse me?
But I will say
Excuse
this.
me? I didn't hear you. What did you say?
To be following him. He and I have a long
I was permitting you your time to continue. To be following him in order. Excuse me. Go ahead, Senator Klobuchar.
During hearing.
Go ahead, Senator
That's what I'm referring to.
Go ahead.
And I will take more than my time, since he's taken more than his time to yell at me.
Go ahead.
So what I will
mark the
say
time.
is that
I'm not yelling. I asked a question. Professor Bray, under our Constitution, who should decide elections, the voters or unelected judges?
The voters are the ones who should vote in the election according to the laws, and the laws sometimes have to be applied by the judges if there are cases.
And under our Constitution, who is charged with making policy decisions, elected representatives elected by the people or unelected federal judges?
Hey everyone. Welcome back to the channel where we stand strong for our Constitution, our freedoms, and the values that make this country great. Today, I want to talk about a fiery exchange that took place in the Senate, led by none other than Senator Ted Cruz. If you haven't seen the video, Cruz absolutely obliterates the left over their hypocrisy when it comes to the rule of law, and their relentless attack on democracy itself. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll know that the left has been all over the place when it comes to the rule of law. They've been constantly ignoring it when it doesn't suit their radical agenda. But suddenly, when it's convenient, they want to preach about the virtues of law and order. Senator Cruz absolutely destroyed them for this. He pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of the Democrats, and I have to say, he's spot on.
It's long been said that hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays to virtue. I have to admit, I'm enjoying listening to my Democrat colleagues suddenly discover the virtues of the rule of law after 4 years where they brazenly supported the most lawless Department of Justice and the most politically weaponized Department of Justice our nation has ever seen. We just heard the senator from Rhode Island talk about the imperative of protecting judges. And yet not a single Democrat senator cared about the violent protesters that showed up outside Supreme Court justices' homes, including, I might note, female justices like Justice Amy Coney Barrett, threatening their family, and Joe Biden's attorney general didn't do a damn thing and refused to enforce the law to protect those judges. Why? Because he agreed with the violent protesters and he wanted to intimidate and threaten those judges. Professor Bray, under our Constitution, who should decide elections, the voters or unelected judges?
The voters are the ones who should vote in the election according to the laws, and the laws sometimes have to be applied by the judges if there are cases.
And under our Constitution, who is charged with making policy decisions, elected representatives elected by the people or unelected federal judges?
I think the question of policy, Senator, is a little broader than the particular case. So the laws should be enacted by Congress. That's where the fountain of law.
Policy decisions are the elected branches.
Right.
Law is the province of the court. Policy is the province of the elected branches. These are not complicated. Professor Bray, let me ask you this. Do the federal courts have power to issue remedies for people who are not parties to a case?
That's a question I agree is not complicated. They do not have that power.
Is the phrase nationwide injunction or universal injunction found anywhere in the Constitution?
It is not.
First chart. In the first 150 years of our republic, how many nationwide injunctions were issued?
My view is that there were not any until 1963.
0. Now fast forward. How many nationwide injunctions were issued in the entire 20th century?
It's a small number. I would think it would be a dozen, give or take. It's not large.
27, actually. Excluding Trump's first term, how many nationwide injunctions were issued in the last 20 years?
Far more than that.
32. From 2001 to 2024 against Biden, Obama, and Bush, 32. And how many nationwide injunctions have been issued in the last 2 months alone?
There have been quite a few.
37. Let that sink in. There have been more nationwide injunctions in the past 2 months against President Trump than in the entire 20th century. There have been more nationwide injunctions against President Trump in the last 2 months than both terms of George W. Bush, both terms of Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's term. We saw during the Biden presidency lawfare, indicting President Trump 4 times, using the machinery of justice to attack him, and that was an attack on democracy, because Democrats today hate democracy. Democrats today are angry at the voters for re-electing Donald Trump and electing a Republican Senate and a Republican House, and they engaged in lawfare to stop democracy from operating. Understand, this is the second phase of lawfare. Second chart. This is the second phase of lawfare. Now that their efforts to indict President Trump and stop the voters from re-electing him have failed, they're going and seeking out individual radical judges to try to shut down policies, and they are forum shopping like crazy. Give me any loon judge put on the bench by Obama or Biden who disagrees with a policy. We just saw a judge flagrantly ignore U.S. immigration law concerning TPS being revoked. U.S. law explicitly said there's no judicial review for that, but hey, they found a judge who says, you know what? We, the Democrat Party, we are the party of illegal aliens. We are the party of murderers and rapists and gang members, and the Democrat Party exists here to fight to keep murderers and rapists and gang members in your communities. There's a reason the Democrat Party is at 26% approval nationwide, because they put radical policies ahead of rule of law. Nationwide injunctions are an abuse of power. It is the judiciary acting as policy deciders, and it is incumbent on this committee and this body to rein in the abuse of power from these unelected radical judges who are trying to overturn the election because they disagree with what the voters decided.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Senator Klobuchar.
Okay, that was a lot. Let me start with a few things. Number one, we love the democracy, and I believe what we should be having is a civil debate about how we can best, if Donald Trump wants to make changes to the government, we should be doing it in a legal way, not how he's doing it. And the only reason there's all these injunctions, Senator Cruz, is because he's violating the Constitution. Why would Trump-appointed judges...
Why don't you file them in red districts?
Senator Cruz.
Why? What did you just say?
Why don't you file them in red districts? Why are the Democrat attorneys general seeking out left-wing, blue,
quite patient with Senator Cruz's activity in this bill?
Senator Whitehouse.
He's entitled to...
I'm just going to ask for a point of order. Madam Klobuchar, Senator Klobuchar.
Senator Moody, we have debates on this committee. They occur regularly.
Let's let her have her time, and then we'll get back to that. If you want to wait, we'll get back to you, Senator Cruz.
She's welcome to
Senator
answer the
Klobuchar,
question or
go
not.
ahead.
It's her choice.
Go ahead.
I'm so
and I would encourage you to answer.
Following Senator Cruz once again.
Excuse me?
But I will say
Excuse
this.
me? I didn't hear you. What did you say?
To be following him. He and I have a long
I was permitting you your time to continue. To be following him in order. Excuse me. Go ahead, Senator Klobuchar.
During hearing.
Go ahead, Senator
That's what I'm referring to.
Go ahead.
And I will take more than my time, since he's taken more than his time to yell at me.
Go ahead.
So what I will
mark the
say
time.
is that...
I'm not yelling. I asked a question.
Cruz was going after the Democrats for one simple reason. They've spent years tearing down the very institutions that should protect the American people, all to serve their own political agenda. They've supported a DOJ that was weaponized under Biden, using the justice system to attack their political opponents. We saw this during the Trump administration. Instead of just running a clean campaign, the Democrats tried to destroy Trump through baseless accusations, ridiculous investigations, and constant legal battles. And now we see it continuing, only this time, they've shifted gears to attack democracy itself. One of the most powerful moments of this hearing was when Cruz asked Professor Bray a critical question. Who should decide elections? The voters or unelected judges? And what did Bray say? He said that, yes, it's the voters' right to decide, but then he made this ridiculous point that policy decisions should be made by elected representatives. Well, guess what, folks? Elected representatives are the ones who we elect to make decisions on our behalf. Judges? They're supposed to interpret the law, not make it. Here's the thing, folks. The left doesn't care about democracy. They only care about power, and when they don't get their way through the vote, they try to twist the system. That's why we saw the left go absolutely berserk when Trump was elected in 2016. They couldn't accept that the voters had spoken, and so they resorted to lawfare, using the legal system as a weapon to stop democracy from functioning. And now, after all their failed attempts to derail Trump through investigations, the Democrats have upped their game, trying to find radical judges to shut down policies that they disagree with. They're out there forum shopping, looking for a judge who will rule the way they want, no matter what the law actually says. Cruz also highlights the abuse of nationwide injunctions. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar, a nationwide injunction is when a single judge makes a ruling that affects the entire country, even when the case only involves a few people. This is an absolute travesty. These kinds of injunctions were practically non-existent for the first 150 years of our country, but suddenly in the last few decades, they've become more and more common, especially under left-wing judges. Cruz points out that in just the last 2 months alone, there have been more nationwide injunctions than in the entire 20th century. This is how the left is trying to get around the will of the people. They're getting these rogue judges to make decisions that are absolutely not in line with what voters have chosen. And let's be clear, this is not just a Trump issue. This is about democracy itself. The Democrats are angry that Trump won, angry that the voters chose him, and they've been doing everything in their power to stop him from governing ever since. They've been weaponizing the justice system to attack him. We saw 4 different indictments in an effort to remove him from the race. This is not about justice. This is about stopping democracy. Another thing Cruz hit on was the Democrats' radical stance on illegal immigration. They've become the party of open borders. They've made it clear that they prioritize illegal immigrants over the safety and security of American citizens. And folks, let's not beat around the bush. This isn't just about compassion for immigrants. It's about votes. The left wants to open the floodgates to anyone who will vote for them, even if it means putting criminals, murderers, rapists, and gang members back on the streets to wreak havoc on our communities. And what's their solution? More laws. More radical policies that undermine the very fabric of American society. They want to disarm us, they want to weaken our borders, and they want to take away our freedom of speech. Why? Because they know that as long as they can push through their radical agenda, they stay in power. But let me tell you something, patriots, this is a direct attack on the rule of law. This is a direct attack on the voters, on democracy itself. Folks, this is why it's so important that we fight back, and we fight back hard. We cannot let these radical judges and the left-wing establishment continue to destroy the foundation of this country. We cannot let them undermine our Constitution and the rights of the people. As Ted Cruz said, this is lawfare, and it's time we put an end to it. We need to rein in these unelected judges who are acting as policymakers, who are trying to overturn the results of the election just because they didn't like who the voters chose. That's not how democracy works, and it's not how America works. This is a wake-up call, my fellow patriots. We need to stand up for what's right. We need to make sure that the rule of law is upheld and that our elections are respected. We need to make sure that the voice of the American people is heard loud and clear, not drowned out by radical judges or corrupt politicians. It's time to take our country back. Alright, that's all I've got for you today. If you agree with what Ted Cruz said and you're tired of seeing democracy attacked, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the action. We need to stay strong, stay united, and always fight for the America we know and love. God bless America.